Okay, item number 3. I'm sorry, item number 4. STC Technology Communications. Brandon, are you here? Be sure when you talk to kind of speaking to the mic though.
I'd like to thank the committee for having me to discuss the topic.
Okay.
You gotta be loud.
Yeah, I mean, you can hold it, that'll be probably better.
It might not be loud back there.
It's fine.
Okay, thank you. A little over a week ago, we met and discussed proposal for a new phone system for the village. The current phone system is antiquated and it's costly to run. Over the last few months, I have been working with the finance director, Mohan, performing discovery over the entire village and its systems. Last week, my technician and I did a thorough phone-by-phone inspection of the village and finalized a cost report. Switching out the phones to newer technology will save the village close to $1,000 a month, update capabilities, and build in redundancies into the system. Redundancies meaning if power outage were to occur, or phone lines or internet lines were cut, there are mobile applications that can be put into effect to keep the village phone system active. All the phone equipment will be replaced with newer equipment, with maintenance included as well. This includes tech visits for any issues that may arise.
You have a spreadsheet here, if you want to kind of explain that to the board, what it is that that you're proposing, and I guess we can go through the second sheet first to kind of see what the payout would be each and every month. I think most of it's self-explanatory, but you can kind of go through that.
Thank you. If we look at the single page, the first column details. Let's switch over to the third column from the right. It'll say current. Does everyone see where I'm pointing to? This is the current expenses and linked with the phone system that is now in play. The current monthly expenses are $2,968. Under the proposed system, the proposed cost would be $2,176. There would require an upfront cost of $2,176. This was due to our findings during the site survey last week. Several buildings will need to be added additional cabling, as well as network switches.
And the amount is 65 phones?
Initially, in our earlier projections, we had thought there would be 53 phones around the village. Upon our investigation, it turned out there are 65 phones that are considered deemed necessary by Chief Kowalski, Chief Denny, and all the rest of the buildings.
And could you go through some of the services that would be on these phones for different departments? In other words, how they would link up between, I guess, Village Hall, Police Department, Fire Department, and also the community center. Several
features will be available now that are not currently available to the village, such as being able to inter-building dial. For instance, City Hall here will be able to pick up their telephones, dial an extension, and reach any of the other city buildings, such as the fire, police, parks and rec, and so forth. You'll also be able to transfer calls to these buildings and to each individual person's extension. When someone receives a voicemail, not only will they have the ability to maintain that voicemail on their phone, but that voicemail will also be sent to their email. So even if they're not in the office, they'll no longer be required to call in or have to come in to retrieve their voicemails. This type of technology over the last 10 years allows for a lot more mobility. If somebody wanted to have, let's say, a secondary phone at their residence, that can be arranged. A lot of the phone technology nowadays is more internet reliant opposed to the old copper wiring, which gives you a lot more flexibility. The rec center, upon our discovery, did not have a stable internet connection. So the proposal also includes putting a Comcast circuit at the rec center to allow for internet connectivity. Now the rec center only consists of 2 phones. So this would be by far, percentage-wise, the most costly structure for the village.
And we'll also be able to connect vehicles for the Public Works Department too, correct?
That is correct.
Because right now we don't have that capability.
We've also put into plans to have a credit card processing machine capability at the police station, which is not currently in place. There would also be voice recording at the police main line.
Is that detailed out on one of these other pages? Those additional items you just referenced?
Those are not. Those would be a features list, which I could send as a supplemental to this meeting.
And then I see you've got 3 different quotes. Do you represent STC Technologies, or do you also represent First Communications and Nextiva?
I represent STC Technologies. We have relationships with Nextiva and First Communications as well.
So really, we've got a choice of one of the 3, not just STC Technologies, because you don't save us the most money
That's correct.
based on what you're telling me here. So, you know, when I'm looking at this, why should I choose you over First Communications, who's going to save me more money?
From our earlier discussions with Mayor Burgess and Mohan, one of the main reasons we were looking at STC Technologies is because of the white glove approach that we take when we're dealing with organizations or municipalities that don't necessarily have a robust IT team. STC literally takes the phone project from cradle to grave and manages it on a daily basis. The other companies will give you access to a portal to be able to handle a lot of your telecom management. They're very good portals. But in an instance like the village, where you might not have a large IT team, There's no additional cost to have my techs come out. The other two companies or many other companies will not have their own personal techs that they will send out as well to correct any issues. This is included in the service.
Do these other two have help desks that they can call?
Yes. One item that is not listed as an expense that is currently being paid is to the current phone maintenance provider called, I believe it's Black Box, which is roughly another $500 a month that is being expended right now. That is not listed here in the current expenses, but it's definitely something to take note of. And again, that first column, STC Technologies, that's all included in the cost.
So you're saying the black box 500 a month would go away with STC?
That's correct.
Go away with the other ones as well?
It would also go with the other ones, but additional phone maintenance that you may come across will be an additional charge depending on the severity.
Sorry, I have another question. I feel like I'm on time here. You're calling out the addition of the internet access for the rec center. Why are we calling out that instance versus internet access for the rest of the facilities, the other facilities? You know, internet access is separate today? Yes? Okay. So why are we pulling it into this conversation versus keeping it the rest of the internet?
The other buildings have, the internet connectivity is sufficient. There's already internet connectivity in place. At the rec center, there's a device that it's almost like a wireless hotspot. That's all the internet that's available at that facility. But the rest of the buildings here, police station, public works, all have their own stabilized internet. So the proposal we put into play was to have a connection to the Parks and Rec building, recreation building.
Do either of the three offer internet as part of the business offering as well, or is it strictly phone?
They do. First Communications also offers internet access, as did my company. However, by far, Comcast will be the most affordable, by far.
Any other questions?
Please don't be shy. This is very new technology. I'm sure there's tons of questions, so there's no silly ones if anybody's got anything.
What is the upfront fee? Do we have any retained fees, any installation fees, anything to?
There is a one-time cost of $2,176.66. This is on the item listed below monthly totals, upfront installation equipment costs. Other than that, there is no annual fees or continued non-recurring costs.
Any other questions?
Is this a 3-year contract?
It is.
Any other questions? I'm not an expert, so I hope that you can ask all the questions that Brandon has or things that you may think about. Because we're looking to make a savings, we're looking to upgrade and update the current phone system that we have. And this would be a savings, as you stated, it is about $1,000 a month. Is what we're paying now.
Well, it's not actually. If we go with their company, it's $800 a month versus over $1,100 with one of the other providers. So we're talking about, that adds up over the term of the 3 years. So your contract is a 3-year term. Are the other two also 3 years?
They are.
Okay, so the differential is the unknown of support. That's included in your contract, it's not included in their contracts, but we don't have contracts for them to know what the terms of support would be, to know how much, you know, if we would get so many calls or hours free upfront, or if that's on a per call basis. I kind of feel like we've got part of the puzzle, but not the other pieces.
So your both Nextiva and First Communications, your calls into the company are unlimited. If you have issues and you want to make phone calls into them, you certainly can. The point that I was making before is that how many people are on staff that could be in charge of managing these issues that pop up with the phone system, where my company would act as a member of the team and act as sending texts out to find the root of the problem. Because even no matter what company you choose, just because you pick up a telephone and it doesn't work, that can mean several things. It can mean an equipment failure, it can mean a line down, it could mean user error, but at the end of the day, STC will be there to figure it out and not point a finger at a different company or provider or situation.
So there's a fee, so there's no fee if we call in with a issue, but what if somebody needs to come out?
If someone needs to come out, there will be a fee. There'll be an hourly fee, not from STC, but from Nextiva and First Communications. An industry standard in the telephone industry is roughly $200 an hour.
So say, for example, we do go with First Communications because it is the cheaper of the three. So we buy the phones, they'll pretty much be dropped off and no help from anybody as far as installation goes. We're all on our own pretty much, right?
No, my team will still help and assist assist you guys in putting the phones in place and things of that nature.
You just won't help. You just won't be able to help in future problems if you don't go with SCC.
If there's a network issue or some issue with the actual carrier, there is only a certain limit to how far my company will be able to help. But any way we can, we certainly will. I know the big focus obviously is saying, hey, let's think about a phone change in general because of the savings, but the point I really want to emphasize is the redundant nature in what we have. Right now, if a tree was to go down or something and the phone lines get cut, the phone system is here and it's trapped here. You're not able to access it from the outside or access outside from the inside. A modern telephone system like any of the three posted here, you're able to access that telephone system anywhere, not just in this building, not just over at the police station, but you could set up emergency stations and have that telephone system function as if you're here today.
And all three phones, are they basically the same setup configuration, have the same features?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at your activation form, and it's looking a little lean on terminology. When we were talking about the customer service component and not being charged for service calls, I don't even see that mentioned here unless I'm, back to the third page and I'm not seeing that. So how do I know we don't sign this and then find out, oh wait, no, that's not exactly right, because it's not called out here in your document.
I will put that in writing for you.
Are we currently on that contract?
Yes, the contract period ends in May. Typically, when changing telecom providers, you want to plan 30 to 45 days out at the minimum to ensure proper porting and change of carrier takes place so there's no issues.
Our current provider is?
Call one. Assuming that was put into writing, that there is no additional costs for any kind of service issues to take care of. Would you have any other concerns on the service side?
Personally, I'd like to see the terms from the other companies. Who's to say they don't come in here and sit down next to you and say, yeah, we'd be willing to work out a deal with you where you're, you know, if you sign a contract with us, we'll give you X number of hours per month in support. Don't know that since we don't have their activation forms.
If I were to send you the contacts for those companies and their activation forms, is there anything else I could do to help make you feel more comfortable?
That would help. What about anybody else? Yeah, I mean, every penny we can get in savings is critical to us. So, you know, there's a difference. I mean, you know, granted, it doesn't seem like a lot, but right now, every dollar is a lot for us. And so, you know, when I'm looking at almost $13,000 in difference over 3 years, the life of the contract, you know, it adds up. I'm sorry.
There's no reason to be sorry. I'm the one who brought these companies. I represent, in a way, next to even First Communications here at this table. And again, I'm more than happy to bring you in personal contact with actual members of their staff. When I'm bringing up STC Technologies, it's not from a selfish point of view. I act as a consultant, and I see environments and I make my best suggestions on them. If at the end of the day you decided, hey, I want to, no matter what, we got to look at fixed costs and potential variable costs will not matter, I'm going to be your biggest supporter of whoever you choose.
Question. On page 3, the activation form, it has a dual signing of, well, forget the dual signing. The first one, monthly recurring, 1897.34. But on this other sheet here, it says the upfront installation / equipment cost is 2176.66. So I'm just trying to figure out what the difference is.
That's a good question. So on the second line, if I could bring you back here to the side by side, the second line is hosted VoIP seats, and the cost of that is $18.84. Then the third line is the conference phone seat, because that's another thing we're doing is putting a professional conference phone in the center here. When you add up those amounts, I believe that's the number you're getting. Okay.
Is there any negotiation in your numbers for STC to say meet us somewhere in between where you're at right now in First Communications?
That's already taken place. So all three companies, the cost, the pricing is roughly 15% lower than an organization would be able to obtain on their own.
And just out of curiosity, any idea surrounding areas who they're using for their phone services?
It varies greatly. Every city, every village has a different structure and different needs. Right now I'm working with Burbank, Alsip, Highwood, Oswego. None of them are similar to this, and vice versa. It depends on the size of the city, the amount of buildings, the number of telephones, the structure, and the support staff.
Any more questions? Okay, if you can, are you gonna be doing the presenting when you come back with the more information from, Nextiva and First Communications, or you'll be doing it?
I can have a member of
Okay.
their staff or myself, whichever you prefer. I can also send them as a supplemental after the meeting, so you don't have to wait until another meeting, along with the contacts to that company.
That's a better way. Okay, any other questions? Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll be getting in contact with you very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item, Oil for Joy is not here tonight. She's running into some kind of difficulty. So we'll start with item C. Does everyone have a copy, both copies of the IDOT report with them? There's one for resolution, and then there's another one for municipal maintenance costs. Does everyone have a copy of that? Okay, with the first one is the resolution for IDOT, for Robinson to be able to get paid from MFT funds that they do work, when they do work for us pertaining to IDOT, we are naming Robinson Engineering. They'll be able to get paid. As you can see on the second page, it shows a base fee, anything or any project over $20,000. That's probably most of our projects that go out. There's a base fee of $1,225.
Sorry, which page are you looking at?
Page 2. This is for the resolution. This is on the resolution. Did everyone get a copy? I'm sorry, page 3. This one, right? Resolution. And the topic says resolution for maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code. Does everyone have that? I guess it will be page 3. I don't know why I said page 2, because there's the front and back on the first page. So it'll be the last page for that. Does everyone have that?
That is a separate page, that's why I was confused.
No. Printed 130.
That's the BLR 14220, right? Correct.
BLR 14220.
Which is one page by itself. That's it.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You didn't get that page?
Yeah.
Second page is just the directions, and then it's just the directions with the hopes that you would appreciate reading each of my.
Well, it shows the schedule of fees. No one has. They don't, do you have that copy? If not, here's.
It was separated
Okay.
by a blank sheet.
What about you, trustee Todd and trustee Jones, you have that? Okay. And on that page, it shows basically a schedule of fees. And like I stated before, anything over $20,000, their base fee is $1,250. And this is what the Department of Transportation, or IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation, would pay. This is normal industry fee. So what this resolution is to allow Robinson Engineering, we would name Robinson Engineering because it says on page 1 at the bottom, Regional Engineer, Department of Transportation. We have to approve this, so this will be on the agenda for next week. However, today's Tuesday. If you have any questions, feel free to come in. We can discuss it further. Also, I don't know if you guys have phone. telephone numbers to Jim Zarni. You can give him a call. If not, we do have that too. So he can better let you know. But basically, this is what this is for. And this is a resolution that has to be passed. So the resolution will be made up next week, or this week. And it'll be presented, and you'll see the full resolution. And then it'll show you, it's probably going to be basically what you see here, along with a few other addendums that go toward the resolution. Any questions on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
this particular section is MLT monies. Is that the maximum, the $150,000 that we're gonna get for this particular project? For the 18,000,000 GM, the general maintenance?
Yeah, this is for general maintenance. This is basically anything that the village does daily. We use MFT money for the public works, when we use MFT money to repair some of the roads, to rebuy asphalt, to rebuy anything that qualifies. This is showing that we are using this money correctly. They need to know, and they need to understand that, you know, this will be something that we now, the fee, if it's something that we have to go over, in other words, if there's a project that goes over a certain amount, or we have to use an outside engineer, that's the base rate. We don't necessarily have to, and I'm sorry I said that, we don't necessarily have to use Robinson Engineering for that, but it's just the base rate of the engineers that we have to have something priced out for an engineering firm. But all MFT money, it has to be qualified, and this is one of the things that we have to send in so we can get the MFT money for repairs within the city. Most of the repairs, as I stated, is being done by our own in-house public works.
Okay, now I guess this is the maintenance cost sheet. This is all of them we're
You're getting ahead. You're getting ahead of yourself. That's not the one I'm talking about. That's the municipal. Okay, this is separate. I'm gonna get into that one next. This is just for the MFT money that we have to apply for.
So, in other words, we get $150,000 for this 18 GM.
For maintenance of streets and
MFT
highways.
Maintenance of streets. So
Yes.
this is
We're requesting or we're getting?
It's appropriated, so.
That's what we're getting.
Well, okay, I like you to say that, but I'm hoping that, yeah. This is what we're, and usually we get our MFT. This is not CDBG.
Okay,
So
this
CDBG is a little different.
this has already been counted into the budget? Or is this
The
something?
budget hasn't, this is this year, so this is ending date 12/31/2018.
So it also starts with the January date.
Yes, 1/1/18, yes. We haven't gotten it yet, but we will be getting it,
So
yeah.
we haven't gotten this one.
We get it throughout the year.
Oh, $150,000.
But you bring up a good question, because we're straddling calendar year with the state for this versus two different,
Well, our budget starts
Budget years
in
for
June.
us.
Right, our budget starts in June.
so does all of this 150 go into our new calendar?
Prorated, yes. I mean, we'll have to see how much we've gotten so far at that particular point in time, but yes, from that point, for those 6 months, yes.
So in the next 6 months, we should, yeah, next 12 months, we'll get this $150,000 for the MFT fund.
This is for a year. We can add it to the budget for 6 months, is what you're asking.
No, because I don't remember how much we had anticipated getting in for MFT funds.
It's usually about the same every year.
So I do believe it was like 200,000 or something, or I know, I don't have a budget. We'll see how much we're going to put in the budget for this year. You know how much was in there for MFT funds, how much we will get?
Okay, but what what I'm asking is, that question is reason, all this is to say that we're going to use the money for, motor fuel tax for the purpose of maintaining streets and highways.
I understand that, I just want to know if we're going to get some more. More money.
Possible, but you can't find out on the budget. I mean, it's possible that, because MFT is motor fuel tax, that's determined by motor fuel tax.
How much do we?
I'm not, I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, that's my question.
So I'm just asking, my question is, if it's more or less, what does it have to do with the answer of approving that we use the money that's come in for motor fuel tax related expenses? This is what this is saying. How would you know that? How would we know that? That's. Any other questions in regards to this? This will be as a resolution. You'll get it as soon as we get it. The thing taken, it'll probably be close to this. Yeah, but I need to make sure that you get it in time. So if you have any questions about the resolution, but as far as asking how much money we're supposed to get, or I'm sorry, if we're going to get any more, I don't think no one can answer that. This is just what they send out this is done every year.
So actually, if we're looking at the budget, Mayor, we're looking at this year's budget, and the MFT does indicate that we put a higher number into the current year's budget for MFT. So it's probably something that we need to make a note of when we're talking about next year's budget to bring this down, if we're only looking at about 150,000.
That's their projection, that it's different. I mean, you probably will get more, but it's based on, they do an average. And more than likely it is a little bit more.
I understand that, but we're looking at a decent difference. When you're looking at what our approved budget was for last year and the actuals, it's a significant difference.
Hold on just one second. Mohan, could you come up here, please? Do we get, okay, this is for highways and streets. Is that clear cut, or most times we get more than 150?
It's pretty much clear cut. The reason why we got shortened was we had budgeted about 400,000 transfers coming in from CDBG fund, but unfortunately we got only half of 400,000, but there's only 200,000 was awarded by Cook County for the MFT road repair program. That was the main reason we did not get the money. Moving forward, once again, we are going to apply for another 400,000 once again. We'll have a batch shoot, but probably we end up getting at least $200,000 at the most.
What I'm seeing for MFT though, for our current budget year, is a slightly higher than 360,000. So that's a big difference versus 150 here, unless there's another component to MFT other than this maintenance.
Normally we get a growth in the city, like an extra $45,000. We might get it, we may or may not get it. I had plugged in the $45,000 in addition to the MFT allocation. That's the main. So that's why it's like.
So this year we probably shouldn't, because we don't want to guess.
Yeah, once again, we will project it, and who knows, Governor Rauner may come back and give us the $45,000 once again. It was a practice in previous years that we used to get regularly about $45,000 in addition to regular allotment.
Was last year the first year that we didn't get it in a while?
We didn't get it last year, first year, that was the first year. But in anticipation of, in good faith, I had budgeted 45,000 more than the allotment. We didn't get it. Hopefully, it is based on the IML projection. Normally, the IML Illinois Municipal League, they project the growth in the city's extra grant of $45,000. If they do not, I will stop plugging into the budget. So, in essence, we'll get approximately about 23,000 per month instead of.
Mr. Mohan, you mentioned that we got 200,000 of the block grant money already. When did we get that?
We got it in November.
In November. And so this 200,000 plus the 150 that we're going to get, we got $350,000.
We haven't gotten it yet.
Well,
We have not gotten.
we haven't got the
No.
150. Can the block grant funds went where?
It went to, first it went to CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, then it was moved over to MFT Fund.
MFT funds. And so we should have a line item for MFT that already has 200-some-thousand in there.
Yes.
So
And,
can you tell me what the balance is on the,
Bernie, we're talking, we're trying to do, if you want to do that, it's no problem, you come to the village hall and go back and forth, but right now we're talking about the maintenance highway code money from MFT on the agenda. We're not trying to go into the whole budget right now. If you need to do that, I have things in my office that you have those questions that you just have to answer. Asking, I have the answers on my desk that you forwarded. So, but right now, we're not gonna deter from the meeting and start going and asking about what's in this line item, what's in this budget. Right now, we're talking about the maintenance, the MFT money that we're trying to get in, and that we're gonna vote that we're gonna, basically, that we're using this money, and it has to see that we're using the money, which we have already in prior years used it for highways, that this money comes in for that, and then we have to sign off on it, just letting the board know this is what this is. We haven't gotten the money yet. You don't get the money, it just says from the first of this year. It's all the way through the end of the year. I understand you're saying that how much money have we gotten so far under this from right now for the first of this month? Nothing. But it does come in throughout the year. And so this is all, but we're not gonna, because you're gonna keep asking, well, how much money do we have in this account, how much do we have in that account, and this is not what this meeting is for. You can ask those questions one-on-one with Mohan, but I'm not gonna turn this meeting over and make it a, what do we have in whatever account, because we're not auditing the accounts right now. There's a time and place for that. And no problem with that. You're privy to that information, it's nothing. But we're gonna not prolong asking for that one thing. If it's something to do with you not understanding about what the money's used for this $150,000, that's no problem. You're not, if you think that we're gonna get some more money in, Mohan's here to let you know this is what we get over a period of time normally. The last few years. But everything else, we're not just gonna, because now then the meeting will be about something else other than what this is supposed to be about.
Thank you for that information, Mr. Mayor, but however, I do believe these meetings are to find out certain information that we need to know in order to make an informed decision. And since the finance director is already here, we should know how much is.
But we're not gonna, this is not a question and answer period, and then the only alternative is to not vote on it and we don't get the money. That's the only alternative we have, trustees. Right now, what we're talking about right now on the agenda, it has nothing to do with where you're going. That's all I'm telling you.
You don't know where I'm going, because I haven't.
You just asked them about the balance in this account and in the other accounts.
Okay,
You just
Mr.
asked.
Mayor, since you have violated the Open Meetings Act by interrupting me a couple of times and stuff.
Violated
then
what? Excuse me, I did what? I did what?
Because I
I
have asked
violated?
these questions already, and I have yet to get an answer. All I need to know is how much is in the MFT already, and the finance director here, he should know. So, if you're not gonna let me entertain my question, we can move on.
Question, Mayor? These sound like things that we have to approve on a yearly basis, so
Yeah.
this is, sorry. These are items that we have to approve on an annual basis, is that true?
Yes, this is MFT money, yes.
So every year, we should have a resolution.
Yes.
It pretty much is
We have
just
to.
changing the dates and the
We have-
amounts.
Yes, we do. We have
for
to have
both
resolution.
items.
Yes. Well, the other item is just a basic, is a maintenance listing of, and I'll explain that when I get to that, but this is something this is due diligence. We have to have a vote on that we accept what they put down here, and that we're gonna use the money for highway-related expense, or as it states in the highway and, streets within the village. So that's what this is basically for, saying this is what you're gonna use the money for. And those expenses come out, Public Works does most of the work for that, patching and, fixing curbs and things of that nature. Yes, that's what they use the most. Not for water, highways and streets. Yes, sir. Sure. Use the mic.
We have approximately about $157,000. It is approximate, it is not accurate.
Thank you.
But I can let you know if you want more.
Please. So so the clerk is, in what account is this? Any other questions in regards to this resolution that you're going to be getting? Okay. This will be, like I said before, it will be disseminated as soon as the clerk gets everything she needs. Hopefully today is Tuesday, hopefully by Thursday, so it'll be out in your package by Friday. The next item, as you can see, municipal estimate costs. You can look here, and this is basically a maintenance cost sheet from IDOT, and basically what this is letting the village know how much the preliminary engineering cost would be. A lot of this is basically a list of how much things usually are in the market. So it's almost, I guess you would call it a list of industry standards and how much they usually cost for certain things. And you can see now, how many hours the tow truck that they'll pay for. This basically lets us know what they'll pay for if we need work to be done. So this is just letting us know. This is also where the engineering put their amount in there that they would charge, and that also will come out of the MFT money. So this is basically letting them know this is something that we have to also approve. This is industry standards. What it would, what they would charge, what they would give us for certain things that we do and reimburse. And these are all street-related items. This has nothing to do with water. This is all street. MFT is all street. Motor fuel taxes is all street-related. Any questions on that? Yes.
Just so I'm clear, because I'm trying to flip back these handouts to the agenda, and I've got 3 handouts versus 2 agenda items. So we went through the resolution, that was the first agenda item.
Okay.
I can easily follow that. It appears the second agenda item was the schedule of fees agreement that we need to also approve.
Yes.
So then, that does leave this maintenance cost.
When you said
Spreadsheet.
schedule of fees, wait a minute,
Yeah.
where did you get it?
In your package, you should have the very first sheet of that should be the actual email from Jim Sauk.
Oh,
And if you notice, he attached 3 different documents. If you look at the narrative that he wrote, only 2 of them are action items. I thought it would be beneficial if I shared with you his email as well as everything that he sent relative to Tuesday's meeting so that you could have a clearer picture. Only 2 of them are action items, and those are the ones that's on today's agenda. The other one is for your information.
Okay, so that would be this last one, Mayor, that you're just now talking about, does not require action on our part. This is strictly FYI.
yes. Did you guys get this letter from Jim Carney?
Yes.
I'm sorry, maybe I gave too much information. I'm not sorry. Because I can attempt to make certain that it was divided, and that's why you know.
Well, I'm right, and that's why both of them, yeah, because I see that
you.
you,
Blank sheet so that you can just see exactly what he said and how I laid it out based on what he said in his email.
so the last item in the letter is what I was referring to as far as the estimated cost of the engineering. And you see that at the bottom, the last item on the letter says, maintenance engineering to be performed by a consulting engineer. And this is what they had to provide to IDOT, their preliminary engineering cost. Any questions on that? Okay. That also will be on the agenda for next week to be voted on. The last item is finances. Now, this is just a FYI. This is not a, we're not gonna go back and forth. It's just something that I noticed last week, not last week, but last week. And I just wanted everyone to kind of understand. I know a lot of you guys that this is your first year, it's your first term, but it's just something that I just wanted you to really, really understand. There was a consensus vote taken. The reason for that being is at that time, we didn't have a board meeting. The 5th week of a month throws the pay schedule off, so therefore a lot of times when you have the 5th week, it throws it off to where when you have a board meeting, the accounts payable is either the first week before that or after that because it throws off, but when you have another 5th week, it brings it back. Consequently, the next meeting, which is this coming Tuesday, it'll be a board meeting and you'll have your accounts payable that day. That being said, that when, and this is like I stated before, if you need to, I don't even know why there would be questions, but if you need more clarity, I'm sure you can talk to Mohan after the meeting. But, or during the day, he's here every day. When we, or when the board, and I was a trustee at one time, when the board votes on a consensus to pay payroll, that's exactly what it is, payroll. And also, it's not, if you notice, it's not paid payroll or whatever, it's paid payroll related expenses. And if for some reason you say no and that doesn't happen, that means everybody that's supposed to get a check that Friday or Thursday doesn't get paid. Because we can't release money if the board says no. So it's not a hit on Mohan, he doesn't bring the money in. It's not a hit on anybody else. It's actually what you're doing. That's one thing I never done when I was a trustee. I may have done a lot of other things and didn't agree with it. But when it comes to somebody's salary, if we have the money, I don't care if we have the money in the backyard, dig it up or whatever. If we can use it And it's stipulated, I make sure that it's stipulated that it is paid back as soon as we get any money in the village. And that's what was conveyed to each and every trustee, that it's going to be paid back and it's in writing. I make sure Mohan puts that in writing. So when you say yes or no or whatever, and it does happen, as soon as we get money, that's the first thing we pay back, is that, because that is a related expense. I never voted no on payroll, simply because I didn't believe a person should work and have to worry about if they're going to get paid or not. Now, that being said, a lot of towns have used other means because they didn't have it. I'm just glad that we're able to have something somewhere that we can get access to be able to pay payroll, because the state and the county are holding back money for whatever reason. They're paying when they want to, or they're paying when they feel they get the money. I was hoping that the early taxes came in, but they didn't. That's why I was at the last minute. It wasn't anything to do with Mohan waiting till the last minute. We waited till the last minute hoping that our early taxes that were paid back in December would actually be disseminated by that particular time. It didn't happen. So that's why I asked Mohan to send a consensus out, not a meeting, to send a consensus out, and that's all you really needed, was a consensus to pay payroll in that emergency time. So I just wanted the board to understand it's not a hit against anybody. It's basically, if the money is there, even if it's in a restricted fund, we have 1 year to pay it back by law. Even if it's in a TIF fund, we have 1 year to pay it back by law. I don't like to touch it because you have to pay it back. It's not something that we can use and say, okay, we're paying what we can. No, that's a contraction, that's a law, that you have to pay it from the time you take it out, you have 1 year to pay it back. So I thought that, when I sent it out, you vote your conscience, you vote whatever you feel that you want to vote out. I'm not here to go back and forth debate. I just want to let you know what the consequences are. And when that happens like that, then and it doesn't happen, in other words, and you vote not to pay payroll, and it passes, we have no other choice. And I let the department heads know yesterday at the department head meeting that I have no other choice. The contingency plan we talked about at the meeting yesterday, but I have no other choice. I can't ask a person to come to work Monday and I didn't pay him Friday. The person wants to come to work Monday and work until we get the money. That's their decision. I cannot make that decision for them. And that's what we're saying. So that's what I had in finance. Economic development, review ordinance to annex certain property, Mr. Witherby. Did everybody see that?
I got handouts for
Oh.
A little while ago, the village accepted the donation of the land, which is on Sauk Trail, just west of the Sauk Point Industrial Park. So now the village owns the land, and it's currently in unincorporated Cook County. So what this would do is annex the property into the village. That's pretty simple. The ordinance, I passed out to everyone, also has a copy of the plat of annexation and the annexation agreement itself with the proper legal description there as well. All of the legal notices were sent out to the taxing bodies, the Forest Preserve District, etc. So all of those have been sent out within the time frame, and the village would be, the village board would be proper in approving the ordinance for next week. Any questions? No, this is the property that's south of Sauk Trail, not in the district. Correct. And as the board board knows that the property has restricted uses on it. There is some area which is already in the village, which is in the northwest corner there, that there is part that is quasi-buildable. I hesitate to say buildable, because I don't know what the condition is of the soil and stuff. So, but it is an option to perhaps monetize it at some point.
I thought we were supposed to get something saying that some kind of restricted use of the land.
The restrictive covenants were in the packet that was passed out. With the
Mike?
They can't hear you.
yeah, the deed and everything was finalized, and we didn't take it by quitclaim. It was actually taken by warranty deed, which means that any taxes and everything were cleared up prior to. If you do a quitclaim deed, what happens is you're taking over any responsibility that may be on that title, including any taxes. If you do it by warranty deed, everything's prorated up to the date of that point. So the village has no liability up to the date of that point.
So in other words, we didn't get any things that said that we only restrict, we only do certain.
Yeah, we do have the restricted covenants. I will make sure that you get a copy of those. But it does say that it can't be built on in the specific areas.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What is the RFP? That's just this right here, RFP. No, you have, you did RFP for
That was, you must have all the agenda. We took the RFP off. That'll be in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Okay, item E, item E, transportation agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple weeks ago, I spoke with you about entering into an agreement with PACE.
Give me the mic, please.
A couple of weeks ago, I spoke to you about entering into an agreement with PACE, a company where they would provide, where we would be like a sales agent for them, for the residents of our community. And attached, what you have in front of you is the agreement that was sent over by PACE and reviewed by our attorneys. Know that there is absolutely no risk to us to enter into this agreement. We determine how many packs of tickets we would want, and it's advised that we would go with 10. They would send us the 10. They would then invoice us. We would sell them and send PACE the funds for the tickets that we sold. If we decide that the tickets are not going as we had anticipated, then we have the right to return them, and there would be no expected cost from us. This agreement also talks about their willingness to help promote us as a ticket agent or broker, as well as the expectations that we would as well. Know that this came as a result of a resident approaching me asking that I look into us possibly providing this service so that she wouldn't have to go downtown to purchase them. So we really thought that this would really be a help. It would be a great foot in the door, because then as a result of us talking about this at a previous meeting, another resident came up to me afterwards and stated, okay, that sounds really good, but PACE only goes up to Sauk Trail. Can we talk to them about at least going down to 223rd Street? And I said, you know, let us enter into this agreement first. Let's see how it works, and then let's see what we can do to negotiate. But just know that the interest is here, the need is here, that, you know, we provide some services to our residents, and that's all this piece would do. So therefore, I would like to ask that this agreement be placed on the agenda and we vote and decide whether or not we would provide this resource services to the residents here in Sauk Village.
Any questions? Okay.
So this is something the employees at the front window would need to make sure they're first and able to do.
I mean, yes, I mean, Pace will come out and they will explain it as we go further, yes. They will come out, have representatives come out and explain. If you read through this, you kind of see some of the things that they're asking. So that's in here. Ticket book pricing and book delivery, and then also the second page shows the entire agreement and.
So we'd have to set up general ledgers for the cash to show coming in and going out.
Oh, yeah,
and
and
all
definitely,
that
because
good
that's a separate, yeah. I don't know how many tickets we would sell, but you're absolutely right, you would have to take that cash and segregate it, yes, you would.
My recommendation would be no more than 2 filters at a time, just to see how it goes after you over $350.
Okay, because I didn't know how much a book would be.
35.
Does that book, I'm not familiar a lot with Pace, does the book entitle you to go from here all the way to wherever it goes, or is it different routes? In other words, is it different zones?
You know, Mr. Mayor, I'm not certain about the zones, but I know that in order to access Pace transportation, each ticket one way, wherever it's going, is $3.20.
Because my question would be, I know they have a point in Chicago Heights, but then after that it goes further. So if you go from here to Chicago Heights and you get on another bus, you have to pay again. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Those will be some of the questions that people will ask, because I would think that the ticket would go all the way until I get off to my spot, but I don't know. Any other questions? Okay, well, this will be on the agenda next week to vote in to be an agent. Okay, public comment, item number 5, all questions and comments will be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate.
Kathy Betcher, I have a couple of things. First, I got my water bill. It is doubled. I just don't get it. I use less water than I do all summer, and my water bill is almost $300 compared to $147 last bill. I think that maybe somebody needs to look at these water bills because of the water main breaks, is what I was told. Because I had 2 major water main breaks right on my street. So I'm hoping that that's why my water bill is so high, because I can't afford $300 every 2 months for water. Second, I wanted to find out about the sale of the property that we were talking about a few months back. If that was still going through or not. Third thing, been hearing rumors about gambling establishments going to be going in, several of them. Is this what's going on? And if so, are they going to come before the board so we can see what the process is for that? Did we get our ordinances figured out and the licensing on those figured out? I know that there was discussion about those before. Third thing, I know this is beating a dead horse, but the cars that were acquired, I would like to know if they were purchased or leased. Who's driving them? There's all kind of commotion going on about who's driving these cars. And I know that they were voted on by the board, but I'd like to know why we needed them. I know it was supposed to be for the police department, But you can drive past there any time of the day and there are cars parked in the lot. We can't make payroll, but we can acquire 3 more cars and have to pay for 3 more cars. And how was that in our budget? Our budget was voted on and approved in April, and now we have an astronomical bill to pay on 3 cars. Where is that money going to come from? That's all I have to say.
I'm gonna try to answer these. First off, the water bill being doubled. I'm not understanding that, but I will tell you factually that water main break there's no impact on your water. Your meter is what comes into your house. I can have a geyser outside, but it would only affect you if it goes through that meter, which would be inside your house. The sale of the property is still ongoing. That's on the other side of 394, Sauk Trail. So the update is that we're waiting. You got to do due diligence. You just can't sell it right away. It's not like selling a house, so there's a lot of other things that are involved in that. And it's a process. And right now, everything's a go. It just takes a process. The gaming parlors, those are what they are. Gaming parlors. They're something that every town has. We only have one. I think there's another one opened up. That's one of the ways of getting revenue right now, and it does generate revenue. Quite naturally, if something goes wrong with it, it'd be just like anything else. There's different licenses. They don't have a license as a lounge has, or tavern, or that sells shot drinks. So therefore, this is another business basically, and they just happen to have gaming, and they have to have a liquor license because that's what the requirements are by the state. And as far as the cars are purchased or leased, they're purchased. And I don't understand what cars you're talking about, but I know that 2 of them were purchased for the police department, which they're using their DEA money to pay that. For the 2, the one that I drive was in the budget, and it's actually in the budget, so I don't know. And I drive that daily when I need to. And that's it. Anybody else?
Hello. Hopefully you guys can hear me and I'm loud enough that I don't need the microphone. I've been resident of Sauk Village for a long time. Okay.
Please state your name.
Myrna Pearson. I'm an employee of the school district out here, and my issue is the school. In front of the school, there are so many things that are not unsafe for these children with the residents out here. They do not abide by the rules when we put cones out there. You got people parking on the opposite side of the street, blocking buses, blocking other vehicles to pick up for daycare. I've been out there quite a few times when the maintenance guys are not there to help get the kids to school and get them out of school. It's an issue. Something's really got to be done about it. You got the school that's here. You got a street here. You got Cynthia here that's in like the middle of the school. Then you got another one. They block off down here. They block off down here. Cynthia needs to be shut down completely as my suggestion when the school goes in session and when they go to get out at the end of the day. They need to shut down one of them streets because if I'm a mile away and I gotta walk 8 houses down to go get my children, my grandchildren, why doesn't everybody else? It is a big issue. Somebody said something about they don't have the funds for Sue to go out there and pay her to issue tickets for these residents of Sauk Village, which would allow revenue for the village, but something's gotta be done about it. And if I'm 50 years old, and if I'm not working and I got a day off of work, but yet I go to get my grandchildren, if I have to walk 10 houses down, across the street, go get my grandchildren, why doesn't everybody else? This is an issue that really needs to be addressed. And it's for the safety of all the children, grandchildren, or whatever in this village. It's really gotten out of hand. So if somebody could please bring it up, maybe to the next board meeting for the school, it really needs to be taken care of.
Okay.
Thank you.
No. So everyone will understand what she's talking about is right there on 215th Street by Wagner School. And Cynthia Street along with Gay Lane, and I forgot the other, Clyde, I think it is.
Clyde?
Yeah. Those 3 streets, and you're right, we have people parking in people's driveways. You have a lot of confusion there. I went out there a couple of times, and I haven't been out there in this winter, but I was out there when school first started, so I can kind of see myself. But I will tell you this, at the next department head meeting, I will address this. They need to address it. I didn't want Sue out there because you have a lot of irate residents.
Right.
People, she walks up on someone and they threaten to say something to her. What's best is to have a police officer there.
But even just the other day, when we standing out there, I had cars that will go around the cones when we block it off. And it's basically for the safety of the children out here.
I mean, I'm not gonna go back and
What
forth.
would happen?
Look, I'm not gonna go back and
What would
forth.
happen if one child would get hit? They'd want to sue the district or the village. I don't want that to happen.
I appreciate your comment, and I'll tell you this. I will personally work on it and talk to the chief, that we can come up with a solution. I didn't, like I stated before, I didn't want code out there doing that because I do notice that there are some irate and she doesn't have the equipment, nor does she have the, to deal with people that you don't know what they're gonna do with. But the police department, that's their job to do that. We did talk to the school, and they did have a maintenance guy, a couple of maintenance guys out there, but we need to work together. And it's not just at Wagner. They have the same problem crossing right there on Wickover. And then also, not as bad on Strasburg, so you're absolutely right. I tried to get the school district to talk to them, but they didn't want to talk about that. And this is going way back for many years, so right now, I'm trying to see if we can call a meeting with the superintendent, school board, whoever we need to talk to sit down and work this out, because it's not just school kids, these are village kids. We're not gonna go, because I can't let you do that, and somebody else.
You know, and the residents, it does affect. So I really appreciate it if you could bring it up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, any other concerns? Thank you.
I just got one question.
Please state your name.
James Harden. I think about 2 years ago we did this under the previous administration of the recycle can. Is there any way we can get a schedule as to when they come out and collect the recycle?
I can tell you that right now.
First got, usually on Monday they come and get the garbage.
Okay,
And I'm assuming that they'll come and get the recycles as well.
every other week.
Every other week?
Yes, sir.
What, first and third or second and fourth?
Every other week. If they didn't pick it up last week, they'll pick up the following week. So every other week.
Oh, okay.
You can give it some at the end of the week. What are you doing? Okay, general comment from the trustees, starting with trustee Brewer.
I have a question.
Okay.
I just want to know, what is the plan to meet payroll for the next pay period?
What is the plan? What do you mean by what is the plan? The plan is always to pay payroll. As I stated before, the money, we have money we have money allocated to be coming in February. We got a forecast, so Mohan has those that he can disseminate to you. That program, that particular, it's not a plan, but that particular disbursement with anticipated funds coming in for February.
From where?
Pardon me?
You said allocated monies from in February?
In February, money that's supposed to be coming in, yes. Money that was, pardon me?
What pot does it go into?
I'm not
Where the
understanding.
money's coming from?
That's what I said, he has a list of where the money's coming in and where they're coming from.
Okay, so if we get this money in February, there's some, how much, I guess you have to figure it out, how much of that is going to be repaid back to the water fund and also to the noise mitigation fund? Is any of that earmarked for to be repaid back?
The money that was voted out, this last disbursement for payroll, out of the money that comes in, as I stated before, that'll be paid back first. So that would be from the fund that we took the money from.
The noise mitigation, so we're not looking at the water fund at all?
I didn't say that. You asked me, I said the money that, the first thing to be paid back is the money that we borrowed. That's the first thing. Yes, we have payroll. But the money any money that's, I stated earlier, any money that comes in, the first thing to do, as I stated, is everybody, when they were asked to vote on it, it will be paid back, first money in. So whatever you get the money in, it will go, that particular amount will go back to that fund.
I understand that. We borrowed $146,000 from the noise mitigation fund to
Use the
repay.
mic.
No, we did not.
Oh, we didn't?
No,
Oh, really?
no. I don't know what phone call you got, but it didn't come out of that.
Okay.
We didn't have that much money in noise mitigation.
What did we get the $146,000?
Did you, did Mohan call you or text you or email you about that?
Yeah. It was
And what was the email say? What did the email that stated where it came from?
Okay, since I must be misinformed, where did we get the?
It wasn't
146?
misinformed.
Where did we get the $146,000 from? From the tip?
You asked me a question. I didn't get the memo.
Okay, well, where did we get?
I didn't get the memo. He didn't ask, he asked the trustees. So I don't know, you have to, it's gone, but you can ask your fellow trustees where it came from.
Okay, so does anybody know where we got the $146,000 from?
Tip fund.
Okay, so we got from the tip, so when we get this new money coming in February, the tip is gonna be paid back?
Yes, trustee, that's what I stated.
Okay, and then at what point are we gonna pay some of the money back to the water fund?
I can't tell you that. I wish I knew that answer. I can't tell you that. I cannot. I'm not gonna sit here and try to make up something because I don't know.
No, I said I'm finished.
Oh, okay. Trustee Zupan.
Public safety meeting tomorrow night, 6 PM, right here. If anybody wishes to join us, please do so. That's it.
Trustee Grant.
Just a comment, to clarify. So any money that comes in will first go back to the CN fund that we borrowed the $41,000 from. That's priority. That was the first restricted fund. Anything else goes to TIF. If there's anything left over, it probably won't go to the water fund, if you don't want to deplete your general fund, because then you'll just be in the same situation again where you have to borrow. So just want to throw that out there, and yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
Trustee Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance review committee meeting this Thursday here at the Village Hall at 6:30 p.m. And that's it.
Trustee Jones.
What I'm gonna say about, as far as our emails, as far as the way we paying our bills, and as far as us discussing where we're gonna pull money from, when we're gonna put money back. I didn't get that in the email about where we was gonna get it from to put back and when we was gonna put it back. So I just get an email that we need to take money out. Okay. What good is that gonna do? I refuse, and I will never approve any accounts payable, anything, just to say, we're gonna take money out, and there's not a follow-up email to say when we put it back and where is it coming from to put it back. So that's, I mean, in 3-4 hours to approve it, not gonna happen. I need to see it, I wanna come in, we should have been able to talk about it. If the money's not there now, we need to have a special meeting beforehand. Let's have a special meeting beforehand. If it comes to me, that's automatic no. When people, if you don't get paid, the employees, that's a problem. They should get paid, but then they have to come up here and we have to rectify that situation. And how are we going to rectify the situation? We got to have the information out there prior to. That's not going to fall on my shoulders in 3 hours to make this decision. Not going to happen. March 30th is the stuffing of the Easter eggs and the baskets. 10 a.m. sharp at the community center. March 31st is Easter egg hunt, noon sharp. And that's it.
Thank you. I've already made it clear. I will find out why it wasn't disseminated, as you stated, that it didn't say. I was under the impression that it was stated where the money was going to be taken out of and that the money was going to be returned to that particular entity as soon as we got money in. And as far as waiting 2 or 3 hours, we waited because we thought the money was coming in. We wasn't just playing games. We thought it was coming in. Sometimes it does come in at the last minute. So if that's the problem, that you want more time, we don't have the time if that happens. That's why there was a consensus. But as far as information being disseminated correctly, I'll make sure that that's taken care of if we ever have to do this again. And it does happen. This is not something brand new. This has been going on. I've been a trustee for I was a trustee for 11 years. And it's been going on since I've been involved in the village that they had to borrow money from other accounts to pay payroll until we got our money from where we're supposed to get it. But that's the way that it happened. That's why they have consents. As I stated before, usually we can take care of this on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, but when you have a 5th Tuesday in the month, that throws off the payroll, so therefore it's taken, because you get paid every 2 weeks, so it's taken out of context, and that's why you have that. If they call a meeting for just that, you know, you can say yes or no. It's just all it is, yes or no. If you say no, fine, and yes, okay, and that's it. With that being said, I accept the motion to adjourn. It was moved by Trustee Zupan, second by Trustee Jones. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much.